Right, so today's planting is once again coming in two parts, and these ones are starting off with the same theme as yesterday. So as I've been going around watering again, I have found another lychee which I feel should be showing some activity if it was going to be coming back, and I checked and yeah, it's dead through to the root. So I'm going to be replacing that with another little fruit tree which is pretty tolerant of shade, because this is a fairly shady spot. It must have just got some sun at just the wrong angle, at just the wrong time, when the guava that gives it most of its shade was a little short on leaves. And it was toasted, but hopefully this little custard apple will prove a little bit sturdier. So far I found them much more resistant to sunburn, and this one was in full sun at the nursery and it is just putting out its new leaves as it warms up. So hopefully this will be a good spot to be putting that in. It's also going to be getting a little bit of turmeric root again, because I have just harvested a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch that is more than I want to plant back in the pot, and I don't really want to peel all of it. I peeled a whole bunch already. So this is going to be going into the soil around this, and it should spring up, should form a nice sort of rainy season addition, and also, yeah, something else I can eat. For part two, I think I actually have Araucaria heterophyllum. I'm not entirely sure. I have thought I've had it before, and it's been columnaris instead. I think this is heterophyllum because the leaves have very quickly on the branches turned to the much more soft incurved leaves, which are much less prickly and alarming looking. There are a few slightly more prickly ones, but they don't seem quite the same as the almost blade-like leaves of the columnaris saplings that I put in. This was reduced because I think it's mostly because the bag was in a bit of a sorry state, and so it was a bit hard to water at the nursery, so they wanted to go on quickly. Usually they're, I think, 3 or 4 times this price when they're this size, so I was quite pleased with this because I have wanted one. We're going to be putting this in the same field because it is wind pollinated. I'm going to choose an area which is surrounded by young ipe saplings. They're actually slightly beyond saplings, some of them are 4 meters high, so I'm not entirely sure what I should call them there. Soon to be coppices, which should give this a little bit more shade as they come into flower and then leaf. This is the less tropical of the two species, so it will want that slightly cooler environment, but it's also in the same field because I don't know if they can cross-pollinate between species, but in case I have one sex in one species and the other in the other, and they can cross-pollinate, it'll be good to have them all close together. We're far enough away from their native range here that I'm really not concerned about creating unnatural hybrids, so hopefully this will be a useful position for them. I'm going to be putting in some companion plants, no real marker plant here because it is larger than any of the Dracaenas that I could reasonably cut that I could see today. So instead we're going to be putting in 3 pieces of Dracaena reflexa low around the base, which should fill out, form a nice little thicket around the base of it, keep it nice and cool as they get bigger. So by next dry season they should hopefully be large enough to make some sort of difference there. Then we're also going to be putting in some pieces of the Apuntia maxima, which I use as Nepalis. It's a thornless variety. It's not the wild type as far as I know, but it is more or less thornless once mature, and it's really good for cooking, and it's also quite a nice one because it is full of water and quite a good fire break, and that is mostly we're going into the north and the east because those are the directions that fire is most likely to come from here. Then we're going to be putting in a few pieces of Kalanchoe fetchinkoi just as an addition to that succulent thicket, and also as a toxic barrier, although I really don't think these are particularly prone to pests and diseases here. We don't have many conifers at all, and the 1 or 2 native conifers we do have are not in Lusaka, so their pests are not present. And then finally we're going to be putting in some more turmeric around the base of this and watering that in, and that should provide something edible from this tree, even if this turns out to be male, or in the 20 or so years it will take to get to bearing age. And that should be everything for today, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it, and if you haven't enjoyed it, thank you for watching anyway. Please tune in again tomorrow. I will be planting something else, to something else's probably. I haven't decided what yet. I have some idea, but it all depends on how prepared I am, so we'll see.